Hello to all the guests. Vanakkam. Good to see you. You know, Narayan Lakshman, do you think, like I thought, I've debated this now, it's been going on and on, it doesn't really abate. Do you think that the basic is, is a communication problem, or rather how you understand something? In the South, the way Sanatana Dharma is understood is very different from the way it is understood in the North. I think, correct me if I am wrong, but in the South somehow, and I am so sorry, but it's, it actually manifests semi-literacy on the part of certain leaders, because they are talking about Varna Ashrama in the same breath. They also confuse Manusmriti. I mean, it's a different book. I don't like it, I don't want to go about it, but then the point is, it's about how Sanatan Dharma is understood, and therefore, this huge problem today about that you are denigrating the entire community, as it were.
Yes, absolutely, Sudha. I think many a slip between the cup and the lip, as they say, and a lot is lost in translation, literally in this case. The reason being, you not only have a difference of language here, but you also have a very different ideological history, which means that when you speak of a term such as Sanatan Dharma, leaders tend to mean very different things by it. So on the Dravidian ideology side, obviously, the resonance of that term is to do much more with caste, combating social injustices, the rights of women and children, the rights of, discriminated communities of all kinds, indeed. And historically, how reforms have been the answer to dealing with it. Therefore, the unstated intention behind the remark is also of so-called eradication or abolition is social reform. Now, that is one side, as you correctly pointed out. There is another side where it has caused extreme injury to sentiment, religious sentiment, because, without getting into the debate of who coined the term Sanatan Dharma, was it an ancient Hindu concept, or was it ascribed and became popular during the British colonial period? Without getting into that debate, because that can go on for a long time, it is definitely to be acknowledged that it is a wide or a broad-ranging term, which includes some aspect of religious codes and ethics and religious practice, as specifically as Hindus have been practicing in many parts of the country. So for that reason, there's been enormous injury caused to that sentiment. The second thing, and I'll stop here for now, aspect of this debate is the personality of Udhayanidhi Stalin himself, and what many have alluded to as, his desire to also, encouraged by his father, perhaps the chief minister, to emerge onto the political stage and, sort of make a name for himself. This is an unfortunate way to do that, but perhaps just draw attention within the media cycle even, and that could have, as you said correctly, a bit of a blowback for the India alliance, but I'll leave it at that for now.
Very well said, Narayan, but I think that it's a kind of knee-jerk because he may have set out to say something, but it sounded like something else, and that comes from when you're not clear about concept. It's like me playing chess. I can't to save my life, so I will never even attempt to do that. I watch the game, but I do not attempt to play because I don't have the wherewithal to do it. And I think Udhayanidhi Stalin, for lack of any other word, needs to be pickled a bit more politically for him to come out and even say what his grandfather, who was absolutely brilliant when it came to these things, did. S Venkat Narayan sir, I want to ask you the next question, is that, look at it, when it started, I was prescient enough because I'm a Tamil, so I understand where it's coming from and what it can do, and I grew up in the North, so I knew that what it can do to those sitting in the North. It's done exactly that, in the sense has driven a wedge. Do you think that the India Bloc or alliance, even before it has started, and I'm not just talking about the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which they are now planning to where they're going to really concentrate on Northeast a lot, but do you think that it has already kind of corroded it, or driven a wedge, or there's been a chink in its armor?
Sudha, I think what Udhayanidhi has said could virtually end up as the last nail in the coffin of India bloc. If
Oh,
I sound seem to be exaggerating, I'm sorry about that, because the way I think there's a lot of confusion in the minds of Udhayanidhi and people who are
yes.
supporting him. They are mistaking Sanatana Dharma, they are equating it with BJP, which it is not. And so they think by attacking Sanatan Dharma, they are attacking BJP. And the education minister is being preposterous by claiming that all the 26 parties are out to finish off Sanatan Dharma. What I believe he meant was that they want to finish off BJP. But BJP and Sanatan Dharma are very different from each other.
Right.
And the kind of irresponsible statements Udhayanidhi and his sycophants Raja and Ponmudi have been making are going to do a greater damage to India bloc as an opposition bloc, for the simple reason that Mamata Banerjee has made it clear she doesn't agree
Yes.
with what Udhayanidhi is saying. Congress Venugopal has said, and so many other leaders have said. Even RJD have issued a statement disassociating themselves from what Udhayanidhi is saying. There is no need for any controversy of this kind. As it is, India bloc, the alliance, the opposition bloc, it hasn't gotten its act that they have 26
Yes.
different parties and they're speaking in 52 different languages. They have to get their act together. And our friend Rahul Gandhi is going to Europe and making, peculiar kind of statements. I don't think they are meant to help the India bloc to emerge as a solid opposition bloc to defeat the BJP-led NDA in the next election, I am afraid, Sudha.
Right. Dr. Basavaraj Itnal, I want to ask you that what Udhayanidhi has said, and of course, more loyal than the king types, Mr. Raja and also Ponmudi, all of them, echoing echo chambers as it were. I say all this, and a lot of people have criticized me for saying this. I am saying this because it's now coming out of my ears. Honestly, I am kind of tired of this, I mean, let's get on with something else now. Do you think this will prove to be the Bajrangbali moment for the India bloc? Because what Udhayanidhi has said will reflect on all the 26 parties, Dr. Itnal. It's not that he said it, of course, I'll talk about how he said it and he scooted from there as if he is a separate entity altogether. He's not. He's part of a conglomerate, as it were, a political one. But do you think this will be the Bajrangbali moment like it was for the BJP in Karnataka for the India bloc, Dr. Itnal?
The Bajrangbali moment was a little, it did not work for BJP because they, openly twisted what the Congress manifesto had said. But that that being so, let us understand this entire issues by layers. One is this debate about Sanatana Dharma and whether it is to be abolished, whether it is to be eradicated, whether it is to be opposed or abused, whatever. The point is, this kind of a religious debate and contradiction and conflicts have been going on not only in India, elsewhere also for times immemorial. In the West, we had Friedrich Nietzsche who had attacked church and the Bible and the God, everything, and even yet outright trashed them.
Right.
And in India also, we had so many traditions. We had even in Karnataka only, we had Basava, Lingayatism, Basava movement, where much stronger words have been said about Sanatan Dharma and Sanatana practices. But the thing is, they were thinkers, they were religious leaders, they were social reformers.
Yes.
They had something better to offer.
Yes.
At least they believed they had something better to offer. They just did not attack, or they did not say it's a disease or eradicate. No, they had some alternative model. Whether it is religion or the governance,
right.
Unless you have a better alternative to tell the people, people don't buy you. For example, this India bloc started off saying that this is formed to defeat Modi. And defeating somebody cannot be, the one and the only goal of complete opposition. It cannot be, unless you have an alternative to offer, unless you have an alternative leadership to offer, unless you have an alternative governance model to offer.
Unless you are a kingdom, like in the good old days. Then you say, oh, I'm going to vanquish this king, Yeah, it's kind of juvenile.
And give what?
Yeah.
You vanquish, but give what?
Exactly.
What is the alternative?
Yes.
So now, like Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad told in the press conference, the cat is out of the bag. Right away, the Ponmudi has, openly, blatantly said that we have formed this alliance to eradicate or to abolish Sanatana Dharma. Is eradication of any Dharma is a political party's objective?
Dr. Itnal,
it's like saying we'll eradicate.
Dr. Itnal, poor cat. I mean, that's not even a cat. I think it's just gas, because the way Ponmudi said, he doesn't, like, Narayan Lakshman said, and like all of you know well, that he equates Sanatana Dharma with the high caste, with Brahmanical hegemony. And he doesn't understand that even Varnashrama, where there are different, according to your duties, your given professions. I don't believe in it, none of us do. He's silly, and I think he's just ruined it for the entire bloc, is what I think, Dr. Itnal.
Come to think of it, the DMK and Dravidian movement was so active in Tamil Nadu for so many years, so many decades. Have they provided an alternative? Let's not go get into what is Varnashrama and all that. It may be good, bad, whatever. You are opposed to it, right? DMK, Dravidian movement is opposed to it. Have you created an alternate model of society? Have you created an alternate model of, governance?
Right. Yeah.
You are in power for such a long time.
Yeah. So
that is something that's where these people, sound hollow.
JVC Sreeram, author and political analyst, also live with us right now. I'll go to him in a bit. Narayan Lakshman, I want to come to you. I've watched the DMK through all this Sanatana Dharma drama that's been enacted by 2-3 people from DMK. They seem to be quiet about it, and I think it's of course political convenience, considering they are in alliance with the Bharatiya Janata Party. But they are also a sliver of the Dravidian movement. Do you think it's only political compulsion which is making them keep quiet? That is my first question to you. And number 2 is, since this government took oath, one has been watching, it went to town about abolishing NEET, nothing was done. I don't blame them. It's like me seeing I will shoot an arrow through the sky, I ain't going to do it ever. So NEET became like that. The caste violence has increased, even as we are speaking, the Thuthukudi violence has happened. Children are being chased after with sickles due to caste. They failed on what they call Samutavam, Swayamaryade, everything. Do you think Sanatan Dharma is the last thing that they want to kind of, hang on to for survival? You have to unmute yourself, Narayan, please. Thank you.
Sorry, let me answer your questions in order. So the first question on the ADMK's silence, so to speak, they have been muted on this. You're absolutely right. I think they are in a difficult political position vis-a-vis the alliance with the BJP. But that has been a bit prickly, even notwithstanding any philosophical issues, because they have essentially signed up to do a balancing act between Dravidian politics and Hindutva politics the moment they signed on. And this is not even the first time. Their illustrious leader, the late Ms. Jayalalitha, did the same. She entered into the alliance. Of course, she also pulled the rug out from under them. So they are no strangers to political opportunism. But I think for them, the real question they're going to have to answer is to the supporters and to the voters. Firstly in the Lok Sabha election, then obviously at the next assembly election, as to where do they stand. Are they a hardcore Dravidianist party which believes in that tenet of social justice to the point of even conflating caste injustice with Sanatana Dharma, or are they going to take a much softer version of it? Because after all, their priority was to have a charismatic leader of like the stature of MGR and Jayalalitha, who then in a paternalistic manner doles out freebies and welfare goods, depending on how you see, which is their main mode of thinking. So that is their conundrum. So let me leave that there. Your second question was relating more to the presence of caste injustice and caste violence across the state. As Mr. Itnal said, Dr. Itnal said, there is very much a scenario where that caste-related tensions are prevalent widely. But that is not to say that Tamil Nadu politics over the decades since 1967 has not done something to move power broadly from the upper caste to the middle caste. Let's not just assume everything goes to the lower caste. That is the utopia, maybe for the Dravidian project, but that's not happened.
Okay.
The middle caste is now very dominant. Power has been taken from the hands of the Brahmins since 1967 and certain other upper castes that enjoyed it due to the colonial inheritance.
Right. Sreeram, I want to welcome you. And Sreeram, I want to ask you that because of the Sanatana Dharma remarks which have been made by Udhayanidhi, by Raja, by Ponmudi today and several others, do you think it has already kind of created a division amongst or damaged, let me use a better word, damaged the India Alliance bloc, as it were?
See, I think the I.N.D.I.A Alliance members are definitely feeling very uncomfortable with the kind of comments which has been emanating from the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. Because if you understand, it was Shiv Sena which came out with the rebuttal first, then Mamata Banerjee had to share her viewpoint, then you had RJD and also RJD leaders coming on the national television channel saying that this is not the line of thinking which we are going to take. Even Aam Aadmi Party would have to take such a stance. Even Congress at the central level, central leadership level had a different stance. But Tamil Nadu Congress, they call them Dravida Congress because they have kept their party pledged to Arivalayam for a very long time. As a result of which you can't blame them, because they are playing opportunistic politics and one can understand what they are going through. But certainly the I.N.D.I. alliance is actually into a problem at this point in time. And I do not know, are there communication lines open between various states and Arivalayam, or there are no communication channels? Because if there are communication channels, and I'm absolutely sanguine that some of the alliance partners would have told that this kind of things is going to definitely hurt at the All India level, particularly in the Heartland and the Western India level. Because probably in Tamil Nadu, it might be a non-issue going into the election. That's what I think so, because I do not know how much of an impact these kind of comments would make as far as Tamil Nadu voter is concerned. Probably not, I guess so. But beyond Gummidi Pundi, certainly if you take the case of states like Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, certainly these kind of comments, Chhattisgarh, these kind of comments are not going to be taken with lightly. And obviously the beneficiary would be BJP. See, even if you take the case of the BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, I think at this point in time, you have started seeing that, they're translating things into Hindi, they would put it out, they would take this to the Hindi heartland.
Right.
That this is the kind of message that Congress alliance partner,
on
whose basis Congress has won, say, probably 9 seats in 2019.
Right.
And this is the kind of stance they're taking. So what is going to be the Congress response and rebuttal?
Right.
And so that's what I think.
Okay, Sreeram. Mr. Venkat Narayan, I want to ask